Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here, and also registration, GPMC LLC, a registration company for ISO certification and all its derivatives. Today, this video hits the point. This video is NADCAP is a sad sack for Boeing quality crap. QA expert Daryl Guberman explains. NADCAP is the National Aerospace Defense Contractors Accreditation Program, designed for cost-cutting initiatives, without a doubt, for Boeing, Lockheed, but you have to listen to this. I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to go in briefly. You will find all the data down below this video. And I do this today because I am trying to alert you, the citizen, about what you're sitting in at an airport. And I know what you're going to say. Daryl, nothing goes down. Mark my word, as my word is thy bond, that you're going to have a tragedy. And I'm already warning you in advance because Boeing for 22 years took as their source inspection a piece of paper that was given to them by their supplier as a testament to their quality. Do you think a piece of paper has a brain, a heart, a lungs, liver, hands, arms? Do you think so? I personally, by the way, was involved with NADCAP at a casting company years ago, and we were dealing with AMS 2771. At that time, they were dealing with revision C. Nobody had told that company, not PRI, which is Professional Resource Institute, which handles NADCAP. There's not another company that does. But when the auditor came in, he looked at the paperwork. Everything was filled out. What NADCAP does is whether it's heat treatment, welding, non-destructive testing, you have to fill out these modules and attach paperwork to testament to your verification, viability, and quality. So basically, what the NADCAP inspector is, it's a lawyer. They want to make sure that your paperwork, your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Does it really make a difference? Hold on, I'll tell you. So what happened is auditor's going through there, and he says, wait, this is AMS 2771C. We have a major nonconformance here. We may have to recall these parts. Well, by the way, these parts had already been flying around on planes. They had over 400 parts done to revision C, and nobody informed them. And you're paying NADCAP good money, and they don't inform you with a little tiny thing that goes on your computer that says, revision change, AMS 2771, revision C has now become revision D. Right now, it's up to revision F. And you know what they do with these procedures? They change the verbiage. They change this because basically, this heat treatment has not changed in over 100 years. Do you hear that, business owners, my fellow citizens? But it's a way for them to keep people, number one, making a mistake because they know people are busy, business people are busy. If a revision happens and they don't notify them, we can do a rejection now when we come into the facility. I know the scam, and it is a scam. Okay, and let's continue on. So what happened is one thing led to another. We got revision at that time. We were doing revision D. I apologize. It was revision D. We got revision E in, and we found out they changed a verbiage in one of the pages. They didn't change the dwell time. They didn't change the temperature. It was just a couple pieces of verbiage in the procedure. So we showed the auditor, and he let us go. The consistent production of quality parts and assemblies across the entire aerospace industry was not always so efficient. Many years before NADCAP was founded, aerospace manufacturers determined that hiring an independent contractor was the most efficient way to build a plane. They also found out that you lay off 300 inspectors, the CEO is going to get a bonus. They also found out that give the inspection over to the supplier and throw us a piece of paper, then throw us your parts. You will see it very shortly concerning Boeing. This process was much more difficult in a time before NADCAP because each aerospace manufacturer would have to individually audit suppliers to ensure the products were compliant to the specifications. Most suppliers worked with multitude of aerospace companies, and this system of individual audits meant they would have to be audited to the point of redundancy, waste time, money for everyone, and give the CEO a bonus. Do you hear what they said? They said, well, what that sentence means is this. We can cut back the inspectors. We don't need them now, the source inspectors, for special processes, heat treat, priming, welding, etc. We'll put it on NADCAP. This way, we can get a bonus and be able to play golf a little bit further. And you don't make this up. This is right. It came right off their website. The process for creating NADCAP began in 1985 when both government and private aerospace manufacturers recognized a need to reduce redundant auditing. The United States Department of Defense, which sits on the American National Standards Institute between 2015 and 21, when the International Accreditation Forum incorporated in Delaware, which is a repository for accreditation bodies, was watched over by Communist China, who that gentleman who was watching over, the Communist China guy, Zhao Zhenwu, has been involved with our quality since 1994. You'll find everything down below. All of it will be down below. Began to use the process. By the way, the Department of Defense back in 2012 and 13 signed a special waiver for the F-35 for the magnets on the doors and the computer systems that China could build them. Isn't that a tender moment in a turbulent world? And guess what? In 2009, Lockheed Martin got hacked by China, taking the F-35 blueprints. So the Chinese probably said in 2012 and 13, we don't need them. We already have them. You can't make that up. So the United States Department of Defense to use the process of specific auditing and its effectiveness led to the adoption by the aerospace giants. To serve this purpose, the SAE, Society for Automotive Engineers, incorporated the nonprofit PRI. And here it is. Oh, sorry. Yes, the SAE sits, oh, here it is. I apologize. Here you go. They sit on ANSI's board too, right over by Boeing, the FAA, etc., and the IAQG, the International Aerospace Quality Group. So today, PRI serves as the administration or the administrator for NADCAP programs, scheduling auditors, connecting suppliers with subscribers. NADCAP Europe was established in 2000 and was followed by a launch of NADCAP Asia in 2003. Airbus, Boeing, Bombardier, and Cessna subscribed to NADCAP. Yes, because this way, cost-cutting initiatives. Now we're going to go on to Boeing. Boeing here. Boeing sits on ANSI ANAP, okay? The American National Standards Institute, which is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation that has federal agencies and corporations on board. Boeing sits on there. On their Boeing portal, it states this, and I want you to read it and read it well, because what happens is, with this sad state of affairs, is it says must be ANSI ANAP or internationally equivalent. And you find out that internationally equivalent is either Iran or Pakistan or both. Okay, Iran, who finances Hamas. ANSI ANAP sits as an underwriter for the International Accreditation Forum, again, which is a repository in Delaware for both national and international accreditation bodies. We were invited to join either ANAP or IAF or both in 2016, but I declined because they had a communist Chinese national. Doesn't anybody think of cybersecurity? Oh my goodness. So this is Boeing shoving it down your suppliers' throats. ANSI ANAP. To make matters worse, in 2002, this is what gets a little bit sticky here. You've been flying around on planes that were basically not checked by Boeing, really, for 22 years. So anybody who purchased, any airline who purchased these aircraft from 2002 to present, you have to cross your fingers every time you take off. And that includes you pilots who are flying these tin cans. Over here it states, on-site Boeing survey of suppliers, quality system if need be. Our preference is to deal with proven suppliers with excellent quality performance and not have to do on-site audits, which means this, in layman's terms, ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to say this very slowly. That means if the company is only ANSI ANAB accredited, meaning they can't have competition in that space. We are a registrar that tried to get in and assist Boeing do the right thing, and they would always push us away. Our customers would come back to us and say, Daryl, we can't get into Boeing. But now they're starting to allow our certification in there because we've been exposing this mess, especially now with the whole issue of Alaska Air and also Virgin Atlantic missing bolts. They need somebody like our business, like me, at Boeing to assist them, because right now it's not good, and it won't be good until that takes fruition. So here it is here. So let me get back to this. So they tell their suppliers they need an ANSI ANAB AS9100 certification. That's an international standard for for aerospace. They send a piece of paper back to Boeing. Boeing's purchasing guys check it off. Send us your parts. We don't have to send them inspection, cost-cutting initiatives, and they keep on sending parts. And usually the guy who owns the business, when you talk to him, he will tell you it's this type of game. Pay to play. You can't help it. That's basically what it is. Pay to play. Isn't that nice? On top of it, in 2009, when David Calhoun, who's behind me, the CEO of Boeing, says our international regulator is the FAA, he is incorrect. In 2009, when he sat on the board, the FAA gave self-inspection rights, basically made Boeing an FAA regulatory authority. Okay, for 15 years they've been doing that. I'm not going to read this. Everything's going to be down below this video. The sad part about all this quality, NADCAP, schmadcap, it is absolutely an unbelievable, disgusting display of quality that is out of control. And it certainly is. And this, again, is NADCAP is a sad sack for Boeing quality crap. And it's very true. You have the factor that Boeing fudged documentation 2017. When they had FAA, when they were a regulator, they fudged documentation. Can you imagine that? If I was the CEO back in 2017, I think it was Dennis Muhlenberg. If I was Dennis Muhlenberg, rather than being on the golf course, I would have been in Boeing and saying, listen, guys and gals, you're doing a great job here. We have FAA regulatory authority. That means they give us the power. They trust us. Well, I guess the FAA was teaching them how to fudge documentation, and or the accreditation body, more than likely, ANSI ANAB, taught them how to fudge documentation. Most recently, again, a V-22 Osprey crash. That's a Bell V-22, Bell Boeing V-22, at their composite facility in, I think it's in Pennsylvania. Their composite facility was caught fudging documentation between 2007 and 2018. For 11 years, they were doing that. So here they are, an FAA regulatory authority. They were giving regulatory authority in 2009. And look at the shit. You know who sits there too? The FAA. Nice. But I'm going to leave it here. I think it is very true that we have a problem in quality. I've been singing the siren song of this. These guys aren't listening. This guy, I have no clue what type of, I have the clue. He's got zero quality. They just picked him because of his title, and I thank you very much for your service, Kirkland Dowell. I appreciate that. This guy over here, he's the only one that told the truth. When asked about the F-35, that's Patrick Shanahan. At the time, he was the Deputy Secretary of Defense when he was asked about the F-35 program, and he said the program is fucked up. He's the only one who confessed to the quality of the situation, because Lockheed Martin, there was just a recent article that said even after their 801st ship, they're still producing crappy aircraft with a lot of crabs, a lot of escapes, a lot of quality issues. I'm going to leave it here. I've done enough. I've said enough. And as David Foster Wallace said, the truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. My name is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC. And I will say this again. You have a situation where these overlapping alliances between Boeing, the FAA and Boeing, ANSI and ANAB, who they specify, not just on their supplier portal, but also on a document that came out to their suppliers. Just send us your AS9100 certificate, but remember, it's got to be ANSI ANAB. ANSI ANAB is also an underwriter for the International Accreditation Forum in Delaware, and also the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. Equivalent to ANSI ANAB is Iran and Pakistan, because they too sit on the IF, and I don't say this about the people of Iran and Pakistan. They're not the terrorists. The ones who lead the government are. Okay? That's it. So you have affiliations with ANSI and ANAB, American-based company who has registrars in China as well that can issue an ANAB accreditation. And you have them here. And when it's ANSI ANAB, you have fudging of documentation. You have skipping quality processes and standards like Pfizer did. They got caught. You have Johnson & Johnson recalls on quality because they do not have anyone who cares about quality. And I can prove that to you with all the documentation I have accrued over my 40 plus years in quality. Remember, if it's Boeing, don't, and I mean don't, get going. 22 years of accepting a piece of paper, they've got good quality, and not sending inspectors. Thank you very much. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS @yahoo.com.